let's start with this. When you think about your upbringing, what do you feel shaped you the most?
That's a good question.
Let's
Well,
get it.
as I stated before, I'm the product of an adultery. My father was a married man when he met my mom, and he I believe was running from God and had been running from God for years. His background, from what I understand, really coming from the church, he didn't want to accept what was a call on his life, and he decided to act a little crazy and act out. And in that, time, I ended up being here, and along with my brother and a couple others. Okay. um, um, Father passed when I was 16, so when I left home to go into the Navy, I would go home to visit, but I'd always make a point to go visit her as well when I was there. And she embraced me like I was her flesh and blood. She would introduce me as I was her son, not stepson, her son. And she was a proud mother of just who I became, what I became, my brother, my younger brother, what he became, and really kind of reveled in the fact that, you know what, I'm proud of you. Your dad will be proud of you, the whole thing, right? So for her to have embraced us, I think it made it easier for my siblings, her children, to do so. Because she, in my opinion, was the epitome of a saved woman. This woman was remarkable, just remarkable. And a lot of that, I think, has really rubbed off on the children and my siblings, and just how we all interact today. It's like, hey, listen, none of us asked for what became, but we all have learned to live with the fact that, you know what, God has a purpose for our own lives. So let's just go do what we were supposed to be doing.
Let's pause for a second. Let that marinade. Um, if we were to bring it to today, there are a lot of women who would reject the child or children um, in fear of being, um, should I say, a, a choice,
Mm-hmm.
when in fact you hit it. You said remarkable. She was a remarkable woman to have received you all, embraced you as her children, and that within itself is a sign of the love she had for your father.
Oh,
Extreme
absolutely.
love. To be able to love the children, I just think that's awesome.
No, it is. It is. I mean, but I think that love she had came from God. It had to, because we didn't ask to be here. I mean, we had no role to play in getting here, but we're here,
Yeah.
and we have an assignment for being here, especially if we understand what that really means. And to know that in the course of everything that has been done to produce the fact that we're breathing air, we're still breathing air, and we're breathing air for a reason. And to go back and look at the way the whole construct happened, and to see the role she played even in my life, I always gave her her flowers when I saw her. I always picked up the phone to call her to see how she was doing. Even when I went into the Navy at 18, all the way up to the day she went home to be with the Lord. Okay. I was available because I realized this woman played an incredible role. She even befriended my mom. That's how incredible this woman was. Okay. And I talk about her often because I want everybody to know and understand not everybody's built like that. I get it. They're not. But when you understand why you're breathing air, you know how to put boundaries and parameters and compartmentalize things on the outside that would cause you to get off the gate you're supposed to be in. This woman was incredible. And I speak about it often. And it is what it is.
What's something from your past that changed how you feel or view relationships today?
Something from my past. I'll tell you specifically, and I had to learn this the hard way. And most oftentimes we do learn it the hard way. When it concerns any relationship, I don't care what the relationship is, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a relative, whether it's a friend, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you got to guard your heart. Okay. When you don't know who you are, it's easy to try to get validation from somebody else to help you understand what it is that you're really supposed to be doing. And because people are fallible and they're not perfect, they don't always understand what it takes or how to go in and out of a conversation to help another individual truly become, or even become a catalyst to help that individual become who they're supposed to be. So what ends up happening is that person who needs something gets hurt. Like I said, my father left at 16. He passed away at 16. Well, for a young man, that period is pivotal in your development in becoming a man. So what happened to me is I got angry because I didn't have that. It was gone. So I didn't trust anybody. Any male role model wasn't my father. Mind you, now I saw this man every day. Okay. So as I grew up, as I began to get older, as I began to mature, I found myself trying to please. And the pressure of doing that, this is the joke I always say. That's the reason why I don't have any hair today. Right? Okay. Because of that. But what I learned from that, thank God for that. What I learned from that is I can never let another person's opinion of me outweigh my own, of myself. When you're becoming, if somebody is bringing constructive discussion that helps you become and grow and be who you are, then you can determine if you need to take it on. But if it's not that, and there's relationship, you have to understand what degree that relationship should be in your life. So for me, everything stems from the premise of guarding your heart. Why? Scripture says, for out of it flow the issues of life. So if the issues of life are flowing out of my heart, it's because of how I'm dealing with what's going on. I need to now assess the landscape in relationship and understand whether or not that's building me or it's taking away from me.
Mhm.
That's how I guard my heart in everything. So when I tell people today, I don't stress over nobody, because I don't. I've learned from trial and error, hard trial and error, to put people in perspective and to understand the only person I need to please is the one who's responsible for giving me this air. You understand what I'm saying? So relationships, we have to know what they're there for. We have to know what they're there for. And if we don't understand that, that's where we first have to start. Because everything that comes after that, you have to determine whether or not that time involvement is moving you forward. Because if it's not, it's inevitably taking you back. And you got to know.